Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today, where we discuss the darker side of history. Because when history remains a mystery, we're bound to repeat it.
So today we're going to be talking about where the urban legend of Bloody Mary may possibly come from. So a lot of people think that the urban story itself comes from the story of Mary the First of England, because even though she had a relatively short reign in 1553 of only 5 years, she was directly responsible for the deaths of 300 Protestants.
Yeah. That's not a long time.
No, it's really not a long time. And it's these deaths that directly led to her nickname. She was known as Bloody Mary. So let's kind of dive into it and kind of see if we can find any correlations between her story and why it might be directly related to the pretty terrifying urban legend of Bloody Mary. So Mary the First was the first ever Queen of England. Right? So before her was her father, Henry VIII, who
was a huge dick.
You kind of have to understand the time period of which they're living during these religious wars that were going on between Catholics and Protestants. Mary herself was a Catholic, and being a Protestant was kind of seen as
taboo.
Not even taboo. It was more of a plague, because it was considered heresy, because it was against,
because it wasn't Catholicism.
Exactly. It was completely against what, the state, the head of the country, the monarchy, believed in. And, Mary grew up watching her father, Henry VIII, kill 81 Protestants for heresy in his time, right? So it's kind of weird to think of it as she just kind of grew up with it, so that's all she knew, but that's pretty much the reasoning behind why she was so comfortable doing the things that she did. Right? We have to kind of take a step back and try to put ourselves in the mindset of these people and the way they grew up, and the way that their social climate and their religious climate and their political climate was back then.
Because paranoid.
Very paranoid. Very, very paranoid. There was it has to be this way or no way type of thing, but you can kind of see that in history as it goes forward, and even before. So
I want the throne, but my sister has the throne, so I'm going to kill my sister.
Yeah, there's a lot of paranoia surrounding who was the monarch, who deserved it. I mean, you see that with Mary Queen of Scots and Queen Elizabeth I, how they were going back and forth, and they both believed they had the right claim. And it's just, you can see it a lot throughout history, where there is just the political climate of the monarchy is kind of, I have to make a stand, or that's it. This has to be done this way or no way. Heresy was considered, a plague, like I was saying. But it wasn't just enough to kill this person. It wasn't just enough to get rid of them.
Right.
So her method of getting rid of these people was to burn them at the stake. And she didn't come up with this. This has been used for many years as the way of executing people accused of heresy. But it was, her preferred method, and we can see that as she did it to 300 people. You couldn't just kill this heretic and then bury this heretic. This heretic had to be completely destroyed, because it wouldn't stop the plague.
Wiped off the face of the earth.
Wiped out. It wasn't just, you couldn't just bury them and be done. They had to be gone. So they would burn them at the stake, and she would then kind of keep them going until they reduced to ash, and she would then have their bodies, or what was left of it, dumped into a river to completely get rid of it, because that would kill the plague, because it was gone. It couldn't spread because there's nothing left to spread. It was taken very seriously. She took it incredibly seriously. It was seen as a threat to the monarchy. It was seen as a threat to Catholicism. So she just, it wasn't even a question in her mind. That was just what she was going to do. Like I said, in the 5 years that she was Queen of England, she killed about 300 people before she herself would die at the age of, I believe, 42, from the influenza outbreak. Now, there is kind of a question if she actually died from influenza or if she had some type of tumor or cancer in the uterus. The number of deaths that she accrued during her time period as queen, attributed to her nickname as actually being Bloody Mary. Right?
I can see
and
why.
the speculation for how she died comes into play because she was said to have extreme abdominal pain, and she was said to have been pregnant twice, but there was never a child actually ever produced. So they think maybe it was uterine cancer or a uterine tumor at least, because she is reported to have been showing as if she was pregnant. She was having cramps, like she might be going into labor, but there was no child ever produced. Ghost babies. Oh, actually, yeah. There was a lot of rumors that spread, and people believe that she either gave birth to ghost babies, or equally as, terrible, she just simply killed the babies, which would make them ghost babies.
Double bitch.
It's important for us to put that into play because it does directly tie. There is a huge, strong correlation between ghost babies and the Bloody Mary urban legend itself, because in some of the different variations of this legend, there is a baby that comes into play. It's also important to note that there was a book written about different time periods where heresy was a big deal and people were being killed and condemned as heretics about 5 years after she died. And while it's on a bunch of different time periods, the sketches and all of her deaths were notated in this book. About over half of the actual pictures that were drawn in this book took place during Mary's reign. So it's kind of safe to say that, history is written by the victors, so we don't really know. When we know that what she did, but these rumors that were kind of solidified and how horrible she was, it could just be because people didn't view her very well. And, after you die, you have no way of defending yourself.
Yeah.
So it could just be rumors run amok type of thing. Because,
it's a pretty serious rumor.
It's a pretty serious rumor, yeah. But, she is said to have died from the influenza outbreak. But because of these rumors and what she is said to have experienced, that's why there is so much controversy over how she actually died. Because we can't, confirm anything at this point.
Yeah, it was years and years and years and years.
Hundreds. 1553 to 1558. She died in 1558. So, there's no way. She's bones now. And I don't think you can test bones for uterine
cancer.
Yeah,
no.
Not uterine, at least, because it's not in your bones. It's in your uterus, right? So let's kind of circle towards the actual urban legend itself. And you can see there is a lot of correlations between her story, Bloody Mary's story, Mary the First, and the actual urban legend itself. Now, she is said to be a very vain person. Again, it could just be from rumors running amok, but I don't know.
Self-absorbed
is how she was described. Very vain, very narcissistic. And when she died, allegedly, her soul got sucked into and trapped into one of the many mirrors that she had because she was such a vain, narcissistic woman. And that's why a lot of people...
She had mirrors all over her castle?
Not all over the castle, but a lot of people...
Every wall is a mirror.
No. But a lot of people believe that might be why the mirror is such a big part of it, because her soul is trapped in the mirror, so she can't appear to you any other way. You can't just sit here and start saying something, she's going to appear behind you. It has to be in front of a mirror.
Right.
So she can actually come out, because that's where her soul is stuck. So circling back to the child portion, where she's said to have had ghost babies or have killed her babies, there's another portion of the story where they say, hey, if you say about 3 times into a mirror, I have your baby, it's said to draw her out, because either she killed the babies and she does not want them alive, or she gave birth to ghost babies and she simply wants them back. So, ghost babies. There's so many different ways that things happen to you when you call upon Bloody Mary. First of all, there's many different ways to do it. Like, some say you have to hold a mirror and a candle and walk backwards up a flight of stairs. Weird, I know. While calling out for her.
Count
And
3
then
times, hop on 1 foot.
No,
You know?
no.
What do you want, lady?
No, you walk up a flight of stairs backwards with a hand mirror and a candle, and she's said to appear behind you on the stairs.
And push you down the flight of
Yeah,
stairs.
she's also said to push you down the stairs if in that version. In other versions, you're in a bathroom with a candle and it has to be red, the color of blood. And she comes and she appears to you, and sometimes she appears as a witch, sometimes a corpse, sometimes just a very sad lady
Who wants her baby back?
who wants her baby back. And every version of the story is different.
I feel much remorse for this woman.
Well, I mean, again, I don't either. But you also have to think about the time period. I mean, it's not like it was just her. There was a bunch of other people doing this. A bunch of other monarchs being pieces of crap too. So, I mean, you can't just hate her. You gotta don't hate the player, hate the game. Like, I'm not condoning it. Murder is not a good thing, but you got to think about it. Like, in their mindset, that was the only way. There was no playing either sides of the pony here. There was no system of you can have your opinion and you can have your opinion and that's okay. It was it's my way or no way, and if you don't like my way, then you're gone and we don't like you and you're dead to us, literally. Literally. Back to what I was saying. Out of the many different ways that you can actually get her to appear, she also supposedly does a bunch of different stuff after you see her, right? So sometimes she gouges your eyes out. Sometimes she just stands behind you and just looks really freaky and creeps you out and then goes away. Sometimes she just straight up kills you. Comes out of the mirror and just kills you. You're dead. You don't know what happened. Right off the rip. Gone. Dead.
Yeah.
Sometimes she comes out of the mirror and she strangles you. And sometimes she stays with you. As an attachment.
Yeah. For your whole life.
Yeah, it just follows you around, and she just stays there until you die in some horrible, tragic way. But pretty much every single version.
She's a bad luck charm.
She's a very bad luck charm. So don't drive, don't cook, don't light candles, don't change light bulbs, don't live. I don't know.
Don't live.
Don't live. Basically, they all agree that she's not going away until you die. And then she goes back into the mirror and waits for her next person to draw her out. So the whole story itself is very...
So she's a royal ghost.
We don't know. We don't know. That's the thing, though.
One version.
One version. Yeah, there are countless different versions of where the actual urban legend may have come from. And nobody knows, but this one, for me, draws the closest correlations, just because of the rumors that are floating around during her time period.
Yeah, it makes the most sense.
Makes the most sense, especially since she had that nickname. I mean, you can't call somebody Bloody Mary and then have a whole totally different Bloody Mary, because that's just rude. I can't. But yeah, most people agree. Once you summon her, she doesn't leave until you die, and then she goes back, and I guess you just kind of float around like a little ghost. I don't really know what happens after that. I don't know. I mean, I'm super into the paranormal, but I don't think I've ever encountered any kind of story where there was just a haunting, a residual haunting of a Bloody Mary victim. So it could be true, could be not. I don't know. I'm not going to do it because I think that's dumb. I mean, why would you tempt fate? That's kind of like saying, well, for me, it's kind of like saying, hey, that knife doesn't look really sharp, so let me try it.
Yeah.
And then you poke yourself in the finger and you're like, ah, crap, that really was sharp, and now you're bleeding.
I don't know. See, I'm the skeptic, so I would try it. But...
I wouldn't, because if it does turn out to be true, well, then I'm going to die. And I like life. I don't know about you, but I like life, so I'm not trying to tempt fate here or, possibly ruin my life by summoning a demon witch corpse thing in a mirror.
I don't know, I tried.
No, don't try it. It's not worth it. Even if it's not real, it's not worth it, because then you have to wait, and that anticipation alone could, it'll kill you. So your heart could stop from fear. People have died from fear before. I mean, I'm pretty sure I read that somebody actually died from fear.
Yeah, it's called a heart attack.
Well, no. I mean, young people have died from fear. Their heart just races so fast that it just stops.
It's a heart attack, cardiac arrest.
It's not a no. Their heart just stops. They just die from fear. It's a thing. Don't judge me.
I'm not judging.
I feel judged.
Anyway, guys, that's the story on Bloody Mary. And if you liked it, please like, share, subscribe. And if you have anything you'd like us to do, give us a recommendation in the comments. Thanks. Y'all have a great one.
Bye.